If there's one thing I love to see on a Tuesday evening, it is the downfall of Chelsea Football Club. Today, Arsenal absolutely peppered Chelsea 5-0 in a game which, going into it, I really didn't expect it. Chelsea haven't lost up to this in 6 league games. Really looks like they're turning a corner. Looks like Poch is starting to implement his style. In those 6 games, the last league game that Chelsea played, they beat Everton 6-0. I know they lost to Manchester City in the FA Cup semi-final, only 1-0, and actually performed very well throughout the game. A lot of debates about whether they should have had that penalty. But also in the Premier League recently, they beat Manchester United 4-3. They had some disappointing draws against relegation battling teams. But you think they've done quite well, beating Manchester United. Arsenal going into this, obviously they beat Wolves at the weekend, but also recently lost to Villa, a draw with Bayern Munich and a loss to Bayern Munich to send them out the Champions League. I was starting to think maybe all hope is lost for Arsenal. But with this result today, it does feel like the title race is back alive. It feels like it's alive and kicking. I've got no idea who's going to win the league. Well, I kind of think it's going to be City still, because there's always this overwhelming feeling that it's going to be them. But let's jump in to Arsenal against Chelsea and talk about the game a little bit. Really quick start from Arsenal. The start set the tempo for the rest of the game. That first goal in the 4th minute from Trossard, the passing leading up to that goal was absolutely fantastic. And that's something that stuck with Arsenal throughout this game. I'm sure you'll hear me say it a few times, but really this game, the passing was incredible. Decent finish from Trossard, a lot of power on it, questions around whether the Chelsea goalkeeper should have done better. I'm stuck on this one. I'm not sure if he should have done better or it was just unlucky and a shot from about 4 yards out. Obviously, near post, so most people would say that he should have done better, but it is a tricky one for any goalkeeper. That takes Trossard up to 15 goals for this season. Arsenal fans, is Trossard surpassing Martinelli? Obviously, starting today, so you would like to think that Mikel Arteta is maybe thinking that he is. It's a tough call, though. Let me know, Arsenal fans. What do you think? Going a little bit later in the first half, Saka had a half-decent chance, which again was built up very well. 30 seconds later, Havertz gets a nice ball into the box from Ben White, which leads to a fantastic save from the Chelsea goalkeeper. And then again, Trossard has a shot, deflected, Chelsea goalkeeper makes another save. So questions around his previous error can maybe be forgotten at this point because he's made a couple good saves in a row. Chelsea were a little bit better in the first half in comparison to the second half. Obviously, they stayed in the game, which would make you think that instantly they weren't getting absolutely smacked about like they were in the second half. But that doesn't particularly mean that they were amazing throughout the half. They were just okay. Had a few half chances. I actually thought throughout the game Madueke was quite good. He seemed to be the only one that was actually moving forward quickly for Chelsea and trying to create some chances. But going into the second half, you think, all right, this could really go either way despite Arsenal playing really well. Then we go into the second half, 50th minute. A great run from Havertz and another good save from Petrovic. Havertz, you know, we'll get on to Havertz. We'll get on to Havertz. And then for the Ben White goal, Chelsea's defence. In fact, Chelsea's defence for all these Arsenal goals in the second half was fast asleep. If I was a Chelsea fan right now, I would be so upset with that defensive display because it just seemed like there was no motivation to press the Arsenal players. And I think this Ben White goal was the first example of that. Really nicely worked corner, which leads to a good finish from Ben White. I mean, there is a deflection, which means it ends up at Ben White's feet, but you got to slot it in the back of the net still. And then 3-0 to Arsenal. It felt like it was just one after the other between the 50th minute and what was the last goal, like the 75th minute. But yeah, 3-0. Unbelievable pass from Odegaard and a great quality finish from Kai Havertz. Odegaard has pretty quickly become one of the most reliable and one of the best creative and attacking midfielders in the Premier League. I remember when he was a wonder kid still. And then he came to Arsenal, had a pretty decent loan spell. They signed him. I thought, is he really going to live up to it? Is he going to become one of the best attacking midfielders in the league? And he has, hasn't he? He really has. He is a special, special player. And Arsenal are lucky to have him. Still very, very young as well. Jackson had a great chance not long after this. Nicholas Jackson just isn't the man, is he? Let's be frank about it. Nicholas Jackson is not the man that is going to take Chelsea to any kind of silverware. He'll have decent stats come the end of the season. He'll have scored a few goals because he gets so many laid on a plate with him. But In my opinion, if Chelsea want to start winning trophies again, Nicholas Jackson is not the man to take them to those trophies. And then that leads to another couple minutes later, Kai Havertz is back with another fantastic finish where the Chelsea defence is just asleep. Every time Arsenal were on the attack, it just seemed like the Chelsea defenders were too afraid to put a foot in and make a challenge in case they made a mistake. But then that fear was in fact the mistake within itself. Really, really poor defending from Chelsea. And I think Pochettino will be absolutely hounding the players in the dressing room today, because at halftime it was stood up and within 25 minutes it was match shut. Havertz has now got 11 goals and 5 assists in the league this year. Everyone laughed at Arsenal when they signed him. At the start of the season, I don't think I was too harsh on it, but I may have been slightly harsh. It's a possibility that I didn't think he was worth that amount of money. I think everyone kind of thought that. But now when you look at that transfer and the players that Chelsea went on to spend the Kai Havertz money on, Arsenal have done a fantastic piece of business. And you got to admit, he has just been a good player for him. I know that 11 goals, 5 assists. He's not played as a striker for a lot of the games this season as well, though. You've got to keep that one in mind. It's not like the best stats you'll ever see, but what he adds to Arsenal's game is invaluable to the way that they play and the system that Arteta has built. And it is Havertz's first season at Arsenal. I have a feeling next year we're going to be talking about him in an even brighter light. Until that point, I guess we'll have to wait. Ben White, again, makes it 5. You know it's good when Arsenal go 5-0 up at the Emirates against Chelsea through an accidental shot from Ben White, and he just runs away laughing at Chelsea. It's got to be really insulting for those Chelsea fans. And I mean, Ben White, an old Leeds boy, so we love to see him getting 2 goals against the Chelsea scum. At this point, it felt like Arsenal were free-flowing, Chelsea were in free fall. And Arsenal have gone through periods like this in the season where they have just absolutely decimated teams with no remorse. And this really felt like one of those days. Where does this leave them in the league? It's still real close at the top of the Premier League. Arsenal are now 3 points above Liverpool. Liverpool have a game in hand. You would expect them now to finish above Liverpool. They're 4 points above City. City have 2 games in hand. Can they do it? Let's have a quick look at the fixtures. So Manchester City have got Brighton away, Forest away. You would expect them to win both of those. Could be tough games though, especially with Forest still around the relegation zone. They've got Wolves at home. I'm expecting a win there. Wolves are safe, not much to fight for. Fulham away, same answer, not much to fight for. Tottenham away. I think that could be where Manchester City slip up. So you need them to drop points in one of those other games. They've also got West Ham at home. But I'm saying it's going to be Tottenham away, because Tottenham will probably still be fighting for top 4. That may change come second to last game of the season. And Notts Forest away is where I think City could mess up. 2 games that will mean a lot to the teams they're facing. Both away fixtures. Both crowds will be right up for it. And then we'll have a quick look at Arsenal's fixtures, and we start off with a team I just bigged up to do well against Manchester City, and that is the North London derby, where Arsenal will visit Tottenham. It's going to be real hard for them to pick up all 3 points there, but after a victory like this in another London derby, albeit nowhere near the same size, I'm now feeling that Arsenal are going to pick up 3 points against Tottenham. Come back on Sunday, we might be doing that as a live stream. I'm not sure yet. There's 3 games up for debate this week. They've also got Bournemouth at home. I'm expecting them to win that. They play Manchester United at Old Trafford. That's a tough one, but Manchester United haven't been in the best of form in recent weeks, have they? They just nearly slipped up in the FA Cup against Coventry. And I have a feeling that they're just going to want to concentrate on trying to win that FA Cup now, because it will be Ten Hag saving grace come the end of the season. And then they've also got Everton at home. So the one I can see Arsenal potentially losing is Tottenham. And to be honest, I think they'll probably need to pick up practically full points if they've got any chance of winning this league. So it's going to be real tough for them, but a great day at the office for them. Chelsea, absolutely all over the place. A horrible day for them. They've got no to fight for this season. Are they going to keep Poch? Maybe I'll do a little deep dive in Chelsea at some point. Come back for that. Come back for more football content. Thank you very much for watching. If you've got to this point, please like, subscribe, do all that stuff. It means we'll keep making content. So I really appreciate anyone who does subscribe. Thanks for watching. Good night.